On this week's show, we're discussing multiple Xbox studios potentially closing down or restructuring. GTA 6 pre-orders are finally due to go live and the hype is real. And Black Ops 1 and 2 are apparently having some kind of remaster report, but only coming to PlayStation. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly gaming show, the GamerGuild Podcast, where we get together to round up all of the week's gaming news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV, and up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Just search for the GamerGuild Podcast or GamerGuild TV, and you'll find us there every Monday, 8 a.m. when this show goes live. Your podcast plays for the week are myself, Chris, at Arcane Rogue, and alongside me, my fellow Englishman, the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, indeed. 4-2, we won't go into it because that is not the theme of this podcast, but off to a good start. And by the time the show goes live, we've got another match on the horizon. But come on, England, it's coming home. Sorry to all of our Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and other listeners, but good luck to all the teams out there. We do have a great show lined up for everyone, Richie. But before we get into all that, we do need to remind everyone to like, subscribe, ring-a-ding-ding that bell so they're kept in the loop with all the great content we do here, because not only do we do this show, we do weekly videos that go up, usually PlayStation Retro Hunt or a live stream of some sort, alongside other special things, and you'll miss out on all that if you don't click like or share with the algorithm. We do have a merchandise store, which we do a terrible job at promoting, but, Richie, the biggest news of the week is we hit another milestone. I feel like all we've done this year is talk about milestones and hitting them.
The last few months have been doing quite well in terms of that whole subscriber count.
Absolutely. And it's a big one. It's a biggie. We've hit 5K.
Biggest so far.
5,000. It is the big. I'd be very worried if we were celebrating going downwards. But yeah, remember when we were so happy and thrilled to hit 100?
Yeah.
Like when we were doing Stadia content and it was like, oh my word, we're in triple
I remember
digits.
when we hit 1,000, we were like, oh my God, we've hit 1,000.
Yeah.
Then it took about another 2-3 years to get to 2,000, and then nothing else till this year. And we went 3, 4, 5, bang, bang, bang.
Just shows you persistence is key. Or
next week, 6,000.
I mean, some channels must go at like an insane rate. If you get like one viral video and it does that, but who knows?
Yeah,
who really knows? But as I said, content is out there, plenty to go. But we always start the show by talking about what video games we've been playing every single week, and I'll throw it over to you, Richie. What you've been playing the last 7 days?
Not a huge amount, but Control. Just being one of them weeks where just last time I actually played, I think was Tuesday. I didn't play anything on Monday night. I played a little bit on Tuesday. Didn't really play. I think I played for about an hour on Wednesday before I went to the pub. Thursday, I was with you playing Dungeons and Dragons.
We were,
and we're recording this on Friday.
And Tom with us as well, yeah. He's our dungeon master. And I'm
recording this now on the Friday, so just been a busy week. So haven't had time to pick up the whole controller.
It happens. I've been dabbling in Sackboy's Big Adventure, of all things. I think I touched on it a little bit not too long ago, but I've started playing through it with my daughter because she really enjoys the world of Astrobot. And because Sackboy and the Little Big Planet era is kind of so intrinsically tied into it, I thought I'll jump into it, see if it's something a little bit different. So I'm not just playing Astrobot all the time as well. And
you're going backwards through all the PlayStation platform and mascots.
Well, this is the thing with Sackboy. You can unlock, very similar to Astrobot actually. They've heavily leaned into obviously skins, but they were always pretty much, I think, for the most part free, if I recall. So I went back in and I had like all of like Nathan Drake outfits, Aloy, Horizon, and there he is. The last addition to the skins was Astrobot. So it's just Sackboy, but it's Astrobot. So my daughter's like picks that skin every single time. And then in a weird way, going back, because I did play this around PlayStation launch, but I never really put too much time into it. Going back and playing it, it's not too dissimilar to Astrobot, you know. There's like little fun, quirky levels. You've got the same jump and punch mechanics. You get a couple of little pieces of equipment every other level to kind of mix up the gameplay. There's some really good uses of actual like licensed music, which I totally forgot was even a thing. It was like Britney Spears' Toxic playing in like one, and like the level moves with the beat of the tune, a bit like Rayman does. it's fun and whimsical. It's not too difficult. Every level has like a structure of you collect little blue orbs, and there's like little skin costume things you can collect throughout the level, and then you can kind of make your own outfit using the pieces that you found for outfits. You get tallied up for all of bells you collect. So it's very much like a collectathon, but with just like Sackboy trying to save this like crafting planet, or crafting universe, I guess it is, from this like nefarious villain. And for a PlayStation 5, I want to say it was like launch window, like November.
I think it was launch, yeah.
I feel like it was kind of overlooked. It was made by Sumo Digital in Sheffield, so shout out to those guys. I'm sure I've walked past their studio before at some point. And you know what? You whack an Astrobot skin on them, my daughter just thinks it's another Astrobot game. So, yeah.
You got Playroom as well to go back to as well if you want to get a more Astrobot.
Yeah, they kind of feel the same in a lot of ways. Just because.
Playroom is like Astrobot, but smaller and easier.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a tech demo where they actually made a full game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the great thing with the Astrobot skin is it stays on from the very beginning. So even if you boot up the game, he's got the Astrobot skin on, or the Nathan Drake skin, or the Kratos skin, or whatever you want to play as. But obviously, it looks pretty much in terms of shape and size exactly like him. So yeah, you boot up and all the cutscenes, he's in the outfit. So other than the sound effects and the music that comes with an Astrobot game, it's pretty much there. So I was gonna say, if you're out there and you enjoy it, or your kids enjoy it and stuff, you can kind of just make it your own. And that's what I think, going back to the PS3 era, that's what Little Big Planet was all about, right? Just customization, make your own levels, have fun. Like I remember you and me and our friends playing Little Big Planet, probably 1 or 2 on the PS3 around my parents' house. And it was just like the random custom-made levels where you were attacked by sharks flying around every 10 seconds, or bombs were going off every 10 seconds. And it was 4 players, so we all just grabbed a controller, jumped in. And there was never really any purpose to it. It was just like multiplayer fun that you had on a couch with your mates, which you don't really see much of anymore. And I think that's where Little Big Planets kind of fell off a little bit. Is like the desire and hunger for that type of game isn't really there.
But then Astrobot came along and went, actually, is there? I wonder if it was just the Little Big Planet IP that people were kind of done with, and they attempted to turn it into a puzzle platformer rather than like a level creation tool thing. Just didn't quite land.
Yeah, I mean, I just served his time. He was PS3 mascot, and he now passed the baton over, and it's Astrobot very much. But I'm sure it's not the last we'll see of Sackboy. I feel like he's one of those cute little characters that I don't think anyone's got any hatred towards him. So I'm sure he'll be back around in some collection. Maybe we'll eventually one day get a PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale 2, and then we might actually see them in there. But who knows?
Maybe.
Richie, we've got a busy news week. Again, I do feel like the news this week echoes a little bit of what we spoke about last week, but we have a few more layers to the onion this time round. But we can't get into it until you introduce us to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, aka the news.
The news. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, those fantastic folks who support the channel that extra little bit further, just like you can. From as little as 99p, you can support the boys and get early access to all the pre-mentioned content. And I guess, in a way, we've hit 5,000 subscribers, so thank you very much to everyone who's helped us along the way. But I think an additional shout out and thank you to the wonderful guild heroes who have supported us above and beyond for whenever we did pass that 1,000 mark, which was probably 4 years ago, if not more at this point. So
it might be 5 now.
Yeah, so for those who've been with us for that, even is the little 99p, and those who pay on every tier, you're all amazing, and the support definitely keeps us energized to come back, because we wouldn't want to let you down. That's why we keep doing it, because we are up to episode 149 of this show. Episode 520 podcasts in total, so we've passed that kind of halfway point of 1,000, but as we kind of encroach and creep up on the Sounds of Stadia number, which is only about 12 weeks away until we kind of eclipse the total run we had with Stadia, which is wild to say in its own right. Thank you. 5,000, couldn't do without you or our guild heroes. Just like Xbox can't do certain things to save themselves, Richie. Story number 1 of the week.
Put down the rakes again, lads. Let's get the rakes back happens.
Out. Reading from Jason Schreier and Bloomberg, he says, And the title, Studios in Microsoft Xbox division brace for closures. The studios, which include Compulsion Games and Double Fine, plus others, are in active negotiation with Xbox and may be giving a chance to go independent. But several studios, including Compulsion Games and Double Fine, are in negotiations to spin off to try and thwart the closure. The studios may have an opportunity to buy themselves back from Xbox and go independent, similar to Toys for Bob, although many employees will likely lose their jobs. The potential closures are part of a broader reorganization being overseen by new chief executive Asher Sharma, who's prioritizing the biggest franchises to return to growth, including the likes of Halo, Gears of War, and Forza and Beyond, and Fallout, and such and such. Several studios in the Microsoft gaming division, kind of people familiar with the company's plans, also include England-based Ninja Theory, the maker of Hellblade, is also in the conversations, and I guess the article kind of goes on to what we already know. Who do you want to start with, Richie? Take your pick of the studios and let's... I
think there's interesting comparisons here to what Asher Sharma's doing with Xbox as to what Ubisoft have been doing to themselves. And that's going really well. We're going to double down on just the biggest franchise, get rid of all the interesting projects, layoffs left, right, and center, and watch our stock price go through the floor. But the timing of this is what the fuck are you playing at? Seriously.
Yeah.
You're letting these developers announce their next game, which it feels like that's part of the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Let them announce the next game to hopefully entice investors into buying them off Xbox. And it's I don't know. It's just shit.
Yeah, it's from the outside looking in and the inside looking out. It just feels like they can't get themselves a win. If we think about merely a week ago, they had the showcase, which was received quite well. They bookended it with the return of exclusives. We've got a limited edition Series S coming out.
I said for me, it was the best showcase of the summer.
Yeah, exactly right. And they showed off a lot of titles, and then they basked in that glorious sunshine for all of 7 days before the rug was pulled out from under them, and we now read that. Again, anything from Jason Schreier, I fully believe he's probably one of, if not the most credible journalists who out there does games journalism. And he's got multiple sources, and he always kind of checks his facts and stuff before going public with anything. He's very kind of meticulous in that way. But yeah, he put out like a half an hour video on his own YouTube channel, which he started doing this year. So he's quite new content for him. He usually just does the videos. Yeah, same. And in that video, he basically just has a 30-minute monologue of the timeline that went right from kind of the beginning of Phil Spencer's reign with the launch of the series consoles all the way through to today, and kind of just points out all of the rakes, as you mentioned, have stepped on during this journey. And
some of the rakes weren't placed there by Xbox himself. It was just change of things. But there's a big heavy finger constantly getting pointed past Xbox to Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
It's Microsoft and the whole greed of the tech industry around AI is what's led to the component shortage, which is what is basically killing Xbox now, because it means they can't launch Project Helix. Project Helix is potentially would be the way out, but because the console will be so insanely expensive, they can't do it. So I honestly, right now, I'm looking at it going, Xbox are fucked. How they're not going to disappear or anything, but
it's
worrying. This feels like for years and years, it felt like Xbox was starting to climb that hill. It's like, right, you're getting back up the top. What, you're getting the games coming, and it's going to be the games that sell the console. Games Pass is the thing that will entice people into the Xbox ecosystem, and eventually, over a long period of time, you may start eating away a bit at Sony's market share, especially as Sony's had a bit of a slow generation. But now they've just pulled the rug from under themselves and just fallen back down the hill. And now they're getting rid of their franchises and their studios. It's like, what are you going to have left? It feels like they're gutting it. And it's like, well...
Yeah, there's an absolute reality where I think last week I actually mentioned I had fear for the likes of Compulsion and Double Fine. And then weirdly enough, before that episode came out, we had another article drop, kind of, I think it was on the Sunday evening, that said about this restructuring. And it was, for me, it was like, oh, damn, we missed that news cycle. But then at the same time, I thought, actually, we kind of covered it a little bit in our own just views of the landscape, because we've been covering it for so long now. Remember when we sat there and praised Xbox for taking on cloud gaming, and we always backed them because they had the games, the studios, the brand, the awareness, and now they're struggling, as you said, through their own devices, but not even them. It's the wider business that's impacting them. I
think that's going to be in the targets. So it feels like Asha Sharma at this point has been dropped into Xbox to do this. Like, she had a few things like going forward, like, oh yeah, here's the plans, blah, blah, blah. And now this is the real task in front of her. I think cloud gaming maybe fit something that they're going to cut, because the tech industry is less interested in cloud technology now, more interested in AI.
Yeah. Yeah, the kind of the Sauron's eye fixation has kind of moved on to the next thing, hasn't it? And so they're not
that asked about cloud. So cloud gaming, although could be the solution to not needing the next generation of console, dust off Keystone or whatever it was called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Get that dongle on the back of your telly. That could be the solution to get the next generation of console without having to invest in the box. But then, I just do not believe Xbox and Microsoft are looking at Xbox Cloud Gaming as anything other than something that is an expense that needs to be got rid of.
Yeah, and back to your point about kind of Big Daddy Microsoft and Satya Nadella, who, as you said, keeps coming out and kind of almost like, I think he sometimes forgets that they're all on the same team when he talks, because he does represent Microsoft, and Xbox is just a smaller division of Microsoft. I think sometimes when he talks on these podcasts and stuff that he goes on, he kind of forgets that his words carry a lot of weight. And back to your point, what you're mentioning, I do think Asha, for all she's come in and said he's the first 100 days and we're planning on a reset, in her own words, like a reset of the business. Part of me thinks is that actually she's been hired by Microsoft, and they've got rid of a lot of legacy gaming talent and people who are like passionate artists and understand the industry and the creativity involves. I think they've brought her potentially in to be very pragmatic and go, you know what, make this business sustainable at any cost. But and I fear on that regard, because gaming's not about pragmatics.
Was it Jason Schreier last year reported that Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft had set a target for 30% return,
30,
which is way over anything even the biggest publishers routinely see. So it just shows that the Microsoft corporate are not looking at this as the part of the gaming industry, but an extension of the tech industry, and that is a problem. Because gaming is tangentially related to the tech industry, but it is an industry upon itself.
It's entertainment, but first and foremost, it's art. And
as I said, to Satya Nadella, he's looking at Microsoft, the big picture. Xbox is a small slice. So when he's on podcast talking, I don't think he gives a damn, because if Xbox shut down, that's what, a couple % of this business that isn't growing. So that percentage is probably shrinking as the rest of Microsoft continues to grow. So he's probably looking at this as going, well, why have we got this? We look at the industry and go, oh my God, Xbox actually does genuinely earn a lot of money as a huge install base. Obviously not compared to like PlayStation and Nintendo. But if you look at it and go, actually, if you looked at it just in isolation, it's probably go, yeah, it's good.
I mean, yeah, but even if
when you put it in the context of
the wider thing, it's almost greed, isn't it, to a degree, where you're completely right. Like Minecraft on its own must make them a ton of money.
Yeah, because he's answerable to Microsoft shareholders, not Xbox. Microsoft shareholders are seeing this as a potential expense. As well, couldn't these resources go elsewhere?
To add a layer of context from this, I'll read from a Pure Xbox article, which is from Satya Nadella's interview. He appeared on the Hard Fork podcast, and he was asked specifically about Asher Matt Booty's latest memo regarding the next 100 days of Xbox, and his response was to talk about the challenges and being economically viable. And his direct quote is, "We've invested a lot. Nobody can accuse accuse Microsoft of not having invested for the last 25 years. And now we have to turn this into a sustainable business that delivers what is fundamentally one of the best sources of entertainment still. The challenge we have is that we're not monetizing that entertainment. In fact, if anything, we've been subsidizing that entertainment. In fact, there's more monetization of Xbox games happening on YouTube than at Microsoft. That doesn't mean we do things that are unnatural. We want to do what is really our job, which is to build great games, build great hardware, but we've got to do it in an economically sustainable way. He then goes on to reference the kind of 100 days thing, and he says, I think we have to find a way to deliver games in which is economically relevant for the customer and for us. The scarcity of semiconductor supply and memory in particular is having a massive impact on consumer electronics all up. That's a temporal thing that I think we will get through. It's not going to be permanent, but there's a permanent thing, which is, what's the Xbox model going forward? And that's where, if you think about it, PC and consoles both have their place. Obviously, mobile has people playing elsewhere, and so now we have to bring all that together while staying true to what we've always done. And the biggest thing that always gets me there, and you alluded to it a couple of minutes ago, but talking about the scarcity of semiconductors and the supply and demand on memory having a massive impact on the hardware side of the game and why it's not as economically viable to put out Project Helix at the moment. What's one of the biggest reasons, Richie, that memory is so hard to bloody get your hands on at the moment? AI. Which business is one of the biggest shareholders in OpenAI and one of the biggest drivers in Copilot and those type of business models for the last several years?
Microsoft are pushing thin and light laptops, which are usually business orientated, with heavy AI integration features. And to be honest, half the shit I think people weren't even asking for. People use AI because it's there, but I don't think anyone was asking for it before then. I don't know. I engage with AI as little as I possibly can because I just think it has benefits, especially in things like the scientific and medical research fields, 100%. But when you just see constant AI drivel on things like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, it's just like, even the music industry is getting slaughtered by the amount of AI shite that's put out. It's putting actual talented artists out of work. And it's not like someone who's got a creative idea making money off it. It's executives in the boardroom who don't want to pay talented people.
Yeah.
So the advantages of AI for me are far outstripped by the negative realities. And as in terms of video games, it's damaging the art form.
It's just the ultimate irony of, like, with one hand he's saying Xbox isn't doing enough, it needs to be more sustainable, but they can't get hardware down to a reasonable price for consumers to buy because he, in his side of the business, is ramping up the cost of parts and manufacture. So it's almost like you can't critique them too much or give them too much shit because you're part of the problem, you and the wider team of AI Microsoft. And then this is where I think it is, after the 100 days of, like, good optics, which we said of, like, oh, there's your showcase, oh, look, the logo's back to being semi-translucent, and we're bringing back exclusivity and doing all those nicer kind of lip service jobs. Is there an ultimate reality where Asher has just been brought in and all of her AI companions, and I say that as in, like, actual physical humans who used to work in the AI divisions, they're just purely stripping this down to make it as, I guess, profitable as possible? Because I'm starting to get worried, as I was last week about the studios, which we'll get onto in a moment, but I feel like I'm starting to have my eyes open up to, I don't think we might see a Project Helix see the light of day. I think this might be bring in, restructure, get everything as tight as possible, and they pivot into being a publisher before the next gen even lands.
I think we will, but the way she's currently acting, because she is pushing Project Helix, she's openly saying that she wants it to be the leader in performance in terms of the console space. The problem with that comes with the price tag. And when you're gutting your platform of interesting titles, although they might not be the biggest sellers, well, what you're going to have left? Why should I buy that box over just staying with my current box or staying with PlayStations? Like, why should I invest probably what is going potentially upwards of £1,000 in Project Helix?
Yeah.
When you've got a small suite of studios working on things like Halo and Gears, which that hasn't worked well for Xbox in the last like two console generations.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox seemed to be growing in terms of optimism of the brand because of bringing in and getting more interesting titles and diversifying their portfolio. I think we'll see Helix, but at this point, I'm feeling very, very Sega with Xbox.
Yep.
Helix could be the last Xbox if they're not careful. And right now, I feel like take Microsoft aside, it's not the team at Xbox's fault of the component shortage. And Helix, I feel like if they had kept with the plan, kept these studios making interesting titles, as long as they're being profitable, they don't have to be insanely profitable, but as long as they're being profitable, maybe you need to really, really look at Game Pass as something that's probably been quite detrimental overall.
I think so.
To Xbox. Yeah, you might have to jettison that, but a new console generation could be part of where you easily change that. But then you just need titles, really strong titles out the gate, and a console that is priced reasonably. And right now, I just don't think they've got any of that.
No, and
they're heading away from it as well.
That's why it's mixed messaging, right? It makes no sense because they say we need big titles, but then we want to be creative, and the reality is their big titles ain't hitting anymore. Gears, I don't think has got anywhere near its steam. Halo doesn't have anywhere near the amount of steam. Forza is genuinely their biggest thing they've got right now. And they're porting everywhere, and we've touched on it week and week, so I don't want to retread the same kind of water, but it feels like we're getting very mixed messages, and this is where I think the truth lies within these reports of these closures. And actually, what we're being told is very much public-facing stuff, but actually reading between the lines, I think this is you see it across the whole business landscape in any industry. I think this is a tactical restructure to trim assets, trim fat, lose headcount, make it as streamlined as possible, before they go, dare I say it, publisher, where they only need to produce the content. Remember, she's quoted as saying, we're doubling down on our biggest brands. Fallout will survive across multiple platforms. Forza will survive.
Activision,
that's fine.
And ZeniMax Studios technically operate as separate companies under the Xbox banner. So it remains to be seen how much influence she has over them, because they have their own leadership structure.
Yeah.
Who report to Xbox, but they are still semi-independent.
Yeah. And I guess this brings us back around the studio news. So there's a great article on GameFile by Stephen Totillo, and he goes into kind of like, he reflects on, we actually covered it on the podcast years ago. It was when Xbox restructured, and if you remember, they put out a graph of kind of the organizational chart, and it was just a black background. It had Phil Spencer at the top, and it had a grid of like all these new people who were put into new structures and new positions that included like Bethesda and such, and they kind of sat within their different fields. Half of them have gone now, been replaced with AI counterparts or new faces who aren't necessarily traditionally into gaming. Not creators, not directors, not producers of games, but just like business people. And again, trying to read between the lines. 2 months ago when she was interviewed, Asha said, this is 60 days in the job, asked about the targets, and you mentioned it before, but the 30% margins, and she revealed that actually they've had the margins reduced to around about 3%. And she said, the big thing is we're talking about making great games. Matt Booty, who's been the head of studios for arguably overseeing a lot of the poor output of games that led them to their initial problem with Game Pass, he says that, as a long-term game studio chief, the Peabody Award for South of Midnight, and with Kiln coming out today at the time, like I just feel every day there's something wonderful here. But by Shyama's 100th day, now those studios decided that they're going to be in a bit of a pickle, because all of them have to either rethink or restructure or do something else. And I think if we go through them one by one, I'd like to start with Compulsion Games and Compulsion Games, who just put out South of Midnight, because they're probably, for me, having just got the Platinum on PlayStation, they're my biggest one. So Ninja Theory, and the biggest one I want to bring up, Richie, they debuted a new Hellblade game last week at the showcase, titled Senua, seemingly going a bit more into the combat heavy side of the video gameplay, which is what the sequel was criticised for, as being a bit more of a walking simulator than elevating the gameplay for a sequel and making it more. Apparently, ahead of this reveal, Microsoft had already planned to sunset the studio or split up with them. And the promise of a newly announced game was there to draw in investors, according to a source familiar with Microsoft plans, told GameFile that Ninja Theory might not have even been involved in the plan. So
Ninja Theory basically felt that, well, our new game's been greenlit. Let's crack on. While Microsoft is secretly planning to get rid of them. Yeah. You know what? The three main ones that are up potentially that are getting reported for sale: Compulsion, Ninja Theory, and Double Fine. Do you know who I think should buy them?
Nintendo?
Not Sony.
I don't think anyone's in the market for investing at the moment, though, are they?
But I think you look at Double Fine have always done interesting, quirky stuff, which is more like the PS3 era Sony stuff, which Sony could do with having a bit more than the library at the moment. Hellblade feels like it could absolutely be a PlayStation game.
I mean, I feel like the first one was a PlayStation exclusive for a short while. Maybe only a year.
And Compulsion with South of Midnight, yeah, I could see that. I could see Sony, with it being quite critically acclaimed, Greenlight in number 2, as smaller, like, titles, but pad out the library a bit. South of Midnight 2 with Sony's backing could be a couple of years development and keeps these titles coming into the library for Sony first party when we're currently quiet. I think all three of these studios could do well.
But this is where Sony...
And it's a fucking baller move as well.
But it is, yeah, it would definitely send ripples. But this is where I think Sony, unfortunately, they're not perfect themselves. Yeah. Like, they just shut Bluepoint. Yeah, so why would they go and buy a studio when Bluepoint had a proven track record and they were due to make something new and sexy? I think it is just a combination of poor industry timing where, unfortunately, all these studios, their games have come to fruition and they've got nothing on the slate. So it makes sense to get rid of the ones that currently don't have a bullet in the chamber.
I'm sure if you go back to towards the COVID episodes, like probably Sounds of Stadia, maybe like X-Pass and stuff, when everyone was buying everyone, we worried about this consolidation of the industry.
Yeah.
And are they overreach? Are the big companies overreaching? And now the big companies that have swallowed up all these studios are falling apart.
Yep.
Which means that these studios, which were fine independent, are just going to get destroyed.
Yeah, it's the same shit show. It was E3 June 2018. So actually, before we started covering it, Phil Spencer announced the acquisition of 4 game studios: Undead Labs, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, and Compulsion, plus the creation of a since-closed studio, The Initiative, which was their own kind of in-house one that formed. The company framed this as Xbox investing in development of original content and doubling its game studios. Later that year, they also announced the purchase of 2 more studios, Obsidian and In Exile. And then it's almost like buy studio for millions of pounds, try and assimilate them into Microsoft or Xbox gaming division, put out a game goes into Game Pass. Nobody knows if it sold well or how popular it was. They touted like hours played and shit like that. But remember, Microsoft stopped reporting on numbers back in the Xbox One era. And then now it's just like, did it do well? We don't really know. And then a couple of years pass, they're working on something, and then nothing comes out, and they get shut down. And it seems it's just a pointless waste of money and talent.
One thing I do think Asher Sharma's done well was the restructuring of the Xbox Game Pass in terms of pricing, because the recent changes before her did mean Xbox lost millions of subscribers. Probably a lot of these are probably inactive subscribers who just pay every month and don't realize, don't think about it. They hear news that the price is going up and go, oh, I haven't touched that month, I'll get rid of it. You still lost that money. So it's bad strategic leadership, and they've had challenges thrown their way and haven't navigated them well.
I mean, it didn't stop there. 2019, they bought Double Fine. So when we started, and then they bought ZeniMax, Bethesda, Arcane, Machine Games, id 2021, and then they went on in 2023 to splash 76 billion or something on Activision Blizzard King. So again, when Satya says we've invested 100%, Microsoft have. They've literally broke the bank to expand the studio. But do they not see?
But they broke the bank to buy the studios. That doesn't mean they've invested in the games or in the studios. We've bought the rights to them.
Yeah, and obviously,
but if you put the money where it needs to be.
We had that kind of first wave come through. We obviously had the pandemic at some point throughout it, but then all these acquisitions, I think we, especially covering it, felt like there was like a block in the tank of games coming. I feel like we praised them last year for feel like the Game Pass model was really starting to hit its stride, where you were pretty much getting a big title every 2 months. I'd be pushed to say maybe a quarter, but I feel like they hit a really good cadence where it was like, oh wow, we were getting bang, banger, banger. Even like a couple of remasters, like you jumped on Oblivion, I was playing South of Midnight. Like, it just felt like every other month was something new and exciting to look forward to. Are they really naive in investing all this money and then going, right, if we lose the South of Midnight team, so that means in 3 years' time, when they need something in that slot, that studio's gone. When Double Fine put out a Psychonauts, or they put out a Kiln, or they put out a Keeper, like nothing greatly big, but something to drop into the catalogue, they're gone now. Are they not
actually, when we look
idiots?
back, I think history for Xbox is going to be, unfortunately, I think Game Pass is what's ultimately going to be the big nail in the Xbox coffin. Because if you look at Compulsion Games, South Midnight, critically acclaimed, it was never going to be the biggest seller.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have sold enough. But because of Game Pass, people go on there. But that game is fairly short and will not have the player retention numbers. You're not going to get people playing this game for hundreds of hours. So in the whole pot of Game Pass, it's such a small slice, and you're not a gamer, as Asha Sharma's not. It's coming, she's reviewing their studios and going, this studio, they put out a game. It's like, we're paying a lot of money to keep the studio open. They're not currently working on anything, and we made basically no money that they didn't move the needle. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
But it's not the full story of what that studio is. But that's the spreadsheet.
Well, that's it. And do they not realise that in 3-4 years' time, this is going to come back around and bite them on their ass when they don't have a regular cadence of games? Or is this a case of she has to streamline because Game Pass might not belong for this world? And if they get rid of Game Pass, what does it matter?
Expedition 33. That was a spin-off from Ubisoft because they could not get the game greenlit. Game of the Year, one of the biggest sellers of last year.
I mean, I would argue if you looked at the studios as a whole, I think South of Midnight is Compulsion's best game to date. We Happy Few never really moved the needle, but like again, heading in the right direction. Ninja Theory, Hellblade 1, phenomenal. Hellblade 2, more of the same. But again, graphically, visually, storytelling, like they were ticking a lot of boxes. They were winning loads of praise.
The technology behind Hellblade was there. The setting was interesting. Mm-hmm. They just needed a bit more on the gameplay side.
Absolutely.
But technology-wise, the audio, phenomenal.
Yeah. Double Fine, Psychonauts, Keeper and such, and Kiln, like they are more pretty much indie games, for lack of a better term. And maybe they will do better being independent. Like I'm not like my hand on heart hopes that all these studios, if they do face closure, I hope they do just find independence and they go on and go, you know what, stick it to Microsoft. We're going to go to our own thing, and they'll probably have more success putting, like, looking at the IP, I would argue that Psychonauts, South of Midnight, and as you said, Hellblade would probably do better on other platforms. Switch would probably be Psychonauts, Hellblade PlayStation, as you said, South of Midnight more PlayStation inclined in terms of the audiences and the demographics. As we saw with Toys for Bob doing Spyro, they're probably going to make more money out of Spyro than they ever would have been doing a Call of Duty support studio working under Activision Blizzard King. So, I hope they find some success.
I think the worry I have as well at the moment, because the way the industry is, it feels like it's shrinking. Over COVID, we got a big boom, largely because a lot of lapsed gamers took to gaming again because they were shut inside for 2 years. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have moved back on from gaming. The gaming industry is not growing at the rate it was a few years back. So does this mean like investors are not really looking at the gaming industry as a big growth opportunity because they're looking at AI instead? They're putting the money elsewhere. So if a Double Fine goes independent, are they getting the investment to get the games made? That's where it's like, which is where I think Toys for Bob have done an absolute blinder, where they went independent but got a contract for a game under Xbox, so they've secured their next title.
It's very much the case of have your cake and eat it with them. It's like they've got to go independent and make what
we've
they
got
want
independent,
to make.
And they've basically got a slam dunk with Spiral. As long as they don't make a shit game, they're going to make some money out of that.
Yep. 100%. Spyro, by the way, I know I've always been a big fan of it. 60 million views for that trailer. You know, it's one of the most viewed launch trailers across the whole like non-E3 week. So there's 100% a hunger for it, which I've known for years. But it's good to know that the rest of the world is backing me in Toys for Bob on that one.
Well, we know the story of Activision basically since Call of Duty for Modern Warfare, not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Mm-hmm. They saw a lot of money in Call of Duty. Everything else became largely secondary. Either got stopped and things like Spyro and Crash basically just got left out to die, or the titles were kind of crappy and no one cared about them. Mm-hmm. But that was because it felt like the studios didn't care about them and it wasn't a priority for the publisher. But once they got the Toys Vicarious Visions and Toys for Bob and stuff, got the hands on these IP, passionate about the IP, did some great games, brought them back to life, which arguably paved the way for an Astrobot.
Mm-hmm. But it's a crazy place. To give a bit more context from Jason Schreier, his 30-minute monologue that I said on his channel. He says, as a report on Bluebeg last week, massive layoffs are also coming to Xbox at the end of Microsoft's financial fiscal year, which is June 30th. And he reported on Bluebeg studios like Compulsion, Double Fine, Ninja Theory are all currently in negotiations with Xbox to figure out what's next because all of them are on the chopping block. And those are just the three confirmed so far. I know there are other studios also in trouble. I know there are layoffs about to hit the entire organization in a huge way. What's happening is going to be pretty brutal. The word bloodbath has been thrown around among a lot of people I talk to who know about what's happening. It's going to be bad. And then, I guess, the other rumour I've heard, which is a surprise, is Arcane Leon as well, who are the Deathloop folks. So somehow they put out Deathloop, which was a Game of the Year award-winning title, and that's not enough because they're working on Blade. So remember, we lost the Redfall team, which was Arcane somewhere else. They got closed down. Maybe? Austin, yeah, that sounds right. Austin, good pull. I was never a big fan of Deathloop, but it got so much praise. And then the Blade trailer that was teased, so much praise. Do we think because of everything that's gone on at Microsoft, realistically, when Blade was announced, the time between that and now, so much has gone on behind the scenes in terms of restructuring, leadership moving, projects, budgets and stuff changing, costs ballooning. I heard loads of things about Starfield costing loads. The last Halo Infinite apparently cost way more than you would want it to do. And then now we sit here and go Deathloop, who, bear in mind, Disney, who own Blade, are probably going to take a percentage of that. We've seen from the Insomniac leaks, a big percent. We saw from the Insomniac leaks that actually, if you've got a licensed IP, you may not make as much as you. Even if the game's successful, you need to hit higher margins to really turn a profit. Indiana Jones saw the same thing. Great game, absolutely beloved by all, sold really well even on PlayStation 5. But Disney, Lucasfilm are going to come in and take that IP cut of probably 20 to 30%. So you're already down, even if you do well.
It wasn't Arcane Austin that did.
Redfall.
No, it's Redfall. I went to the wiki for Arcane Leon, and it just took me to Arcane Studios.
Right.
So yeah, it was Arcane Austin that did Redfall.
Yeah, and they're dead. They're already gone. So that was another one. Remember, the game came out, and then Phil came out. We're going to sort it. Patch updates and stuff, and then 2-3 months later, it was like, they're gone.
It filled a bad position. It felt like that was going to be the first big game of the next era of Xbox, like when we're going to be optimistic, and it fell flat on its ass.
Oh yes.
And then remember how much pressure put on Starfield, which also didn't quite live up to expectations. Nope. And suddenly it's like optimism gone.
I mean, Starfield only just passed 500,000 on PS5, which I think they were hoping for a lot better numbers on that.
I think Starfield is one of them where it was always going to do well enough, probably just not as well as people hoped.
Yeah. So they're going back to Fallout or Elder Scrolls eventually.
It's Elder Scrolls next, but it's...
But Todd Howard said he wants to direct the next Fallout, and if Elder Scrolls is 2 to 3 years out minimum, then the next Fallout, you're not going to see that until 2035?
I still think it's possible Elder Scrolls 6 is next year. And Fallout could be 2030.
Oh,
depending how much they've been working in the background. But
it's
and then probably Starfield 2 after that.
Right. So we've gone around the houses then.
Yeah.
Where do we feel about Microsoft using the Senua trailer as a tease? Is that disingenuous to customers, consumers? Look at this new shiny game that's coming. And it's hang on a minute. I don't think this is going to see the light of day. Because
it depends if they have officially greenlit it with the studio, then it's not technically a lie. It's fucking awful.
Like, imagine being told,
Bear in mind, a lot of people who work there will have found out this news through things like Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we're apparently up for sale when they're going into work and going, what the fuck? We thought everything was fine. We got told that we could go ahead and make the next Senua game.
Yeah. We made you a vertical slice. We pulled together a trailer for the showcase.
And now we're getting sold? It's like, what the...
You've got to imagine the pain as well, because you'd imagine when it's revealed to the public, that must be such a hype moment for the team. Like everything you've been working on in secret, because the games industry is so secretive. And then it finally gets showed to the masses, and everyone's like, oh, it looks like it's got more combat. It looks better than the last one. Oh, I'm starting to get excited. And then within the week, you find out you're potentially going to lose a job or be sold, or all your passion project of a game, it actually might not see the light of day, depending on the outcome of these restructures.
And what I
Horrible place to work.
A kind of one last thing in this kind of story is what I always think when you have this sort of situation with these rumors, like the word bloodbath being thrown around, you're going to bleed talent because some people will jump before they're pushed. And guess what? It's going to be your best talent that finds new jobs. So what's left is the people left are probably going to be in weaker positions, or you're not going the best developers working on a place as some of these studios that might not even be up for sale, might be looking at Microsoft going, I don't feel secure in my job anymore. I'm going to dust off that resume. I'm just ship it around, see if like anyone else takes it, gets like secure my future because I've got a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we agree?
That's why it always comes back to people.
Can we agree then that trailer, bear in mind, ended with the words 2027? I don't think that game's anywhere near ready for 2027.
It might be plans for 2027, depending how far they are along.
But everything we're hearing here sounds like they were told to pull something together to sell the game and sell the studio. Yeah. I don't think it's that far along. I think we don't see that till at least 2028.
It depends, because I think if this game was greenlit under Phil Spencer, like a few years back, they might have been working on it in the background since Hellblade 2. Straight away, jumped straight into it. Like, okay, Phil, you can see Phil go, right, we know where we went wrong, but we believe in something here. Go for it. Make the game. So there might be 2 years into development. So by the time it comes out, maybe there might be a 4-year development cycle. It's possible. And now I knew Microsoft leadership just want them gone.
I mean, the comments on the trailer video are quite harsh as well. Top one, Hellblade 3, Senua's cancellation. The concept of having one of your studios show their new game in your showcase just to shut them down a week later is brutal.
It's very callous, isn't it?
We got a new Senua game for you, and it's gone.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of these studios end up taking lawsuits out against Xbox if they get because there'll be contracts signed and promises made and revoked and all that kind of stuff. I can see this going very litigious.
It's the optics, right? And this is why Xbox just keeps stepping on them damn rakes. Xbox, there's another comment. Xbox be like, here's a trailer. We promise we won't shut the studio down 8 days later. I've never seen such a thing. In 20 years of gaming, a developer gets shut down a week after revealing their newest game. And then, bless them, 12 days ago, before all the news broke, they didn't close the studio. Thank goodness. I love Senua. Maybe hang fire another week, unfortunately. And
hopefully, I've been very, very, very pessimistic here. I'm just hoping that the video game industry, the landscape, shifts. So Xbox have a hope in hell of finding a way out of this mess. The one company, oddly enough, that seems to be fine is Nintendo. But I think they've got so much money in the bank and their IP is so strong and hits that younger audience. They've got such a strong niche that they go, you do what you want, we're fine.
But again, this comes back to, I guess, the points we touched on last week, is that ultimately, Xbox have been in recovery mode since the launch of the Xbox One. Whenever they stood on stage and went, it comes with a Kinect camera and it has to be online all the time and we're focusing on entertainment. Also, we're $100 more than the PS4 is going to be at launch. there's 4 things there that literally chop the legs off from Xbox as a brand.
I still think Sony revised their pricing after, because they had like a few days, I think, between reveals. I think they may have just went drop. I think you can almost see the CEO of Sony pick up the phone and go, drop 100 off it. The fan reaction to that was bad. Can we shift this quickly? But
June 2017, I think, they were both. It'll have been E3 that year, but I feel like it was days apart. Because it must have been days apart. Because if you remember the famous video of Shuhei Yoshida handing the physical game over to, was it Adam Boynes at the time?
That was very, very much a bit that was reactionary to the Xbox launch.
So they must have been so close. It must have been that E3 weekend where one went first, then the second one went like a day or two after. And they were like, right, shit, do something to point out we really don't care about game sharing or connected online, and we don't need a camera.
With E3, you usually had Xbox host headline one day, PlayStation another day, Nintendo another day.
Yeah.
Before they start pulling away.
What a time.
So there may have been
but I just don't think they've recovered from that. Let's face it, Xbox One sales were poor for the whole generation. Series X and S sales, poor for a whole generation in comparison to the others. Meanwhile, PS5 are sat here going, we're nearly at 100 million. Switch 2 are there at 40 or something, but that's the newest on the market. And guess what's coming out in a couple of months? GTA, which we're going to talk about a bit about. That's only going to drive sales up. And if you were a gamer and you're on the fence about, I haven't bought a console in years, but I'm in for Grand Theft Auto, where do you think you're going to buy? Which console are you going to commit to? It's going to be the better one. I'll watch it on Switch. Well, you can't play GTA on the Switch too. And that's millions of people who are going to buy it.
Can you play GTA 6 on the Switch too?
No.
Are you sure?
Not in any way, shape, or form. It's going to be PlayStation and Xbox, and I guarantee you, if you were to toss a coin, people are going to get it on PlayStation.
Yeah, it's definitely not coming to Switch.
It's not even coming. It's not even coming to PC.
At the point, but Rockstar have always been.
They hate PC.
Yeah. Well, I don't get why, but
it's because of online and the cheaters and hackers and stuff. They just either don't think it's worth their time, or because Red Dead Online's still rife with just hackers and stuff.
Yeah, but even back in days of Red Dead 1, it didn't come to PC for a long time. So, I don't think they were caring about online as much back then.
I mean, they also don't need to because they make so much money on console alone.
Yeah, it's just more money to be made, though, isn't there?
But shall we leave a pin in Microsoft for now and see how they shit the bed over the coming by the time next week's out?
Conversations.
I mean... Yeah. I just don't like it because I don't want to be in a market where there's only 2 options for console, Switch and PlayStation.
And as we've said before, it feels like Switch and PlayStation don't compete with each other.
No, they don't.
So
there's some overlap, but that's about it. I guess let us know in the comments, folks. Do you fear for Xbox's future? Do you worry for these studios? And where do you think the dust is going to settle on all this one? Because I think the more we cover it and the more these stories out, I'm starting to become really, really skeptical right now. And if you were to ask me, will you be buying a Project Helix? Bear in mind, they got you and me in the door with Game Pass and Series S. Long-term PlayStation Nintendo fans, they got us to pull the trigger. We did it for the first time in our lives. We were enjoying it. We were playing the games. We were subscribed. And even that's just diminished to a point where we've reverted back to the trusted and true method, and that's PlayStation reliable, Nintendo reliable.
The promise of Game Pass was amazing. The reality is I found myself not utilising the library and then still buying games day and date on PlayStation largely. So I was like, well, why have Game Pass if I'm not using it? It's why I got rid of PlayStation Plus as well. I haven't played any game on PlayStation Plus in over a year, probably close to 2 years. So why am I paying for it?
Great point. So let us know in the comments below as we move on to our next story. Rockstar reveal. Speaking of Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto 6 box art and pre-order details are now live. everything popping off again. They actually had a trailer for the cover art reveal. That's how like big it's going to be. It's pretty much a similar GTA box design that we've been familiar with. It's all like those kind of panels in that particular art style that's synonymous with Grand Theft Auto. A separate aside, Richie, did you see the White House put out a tweet of make America great again or something? It was Trump in all his little boxes, and I know I said now a private checker. It was like
Rockstar are based in Scotland.
I would love the day, though, that GTA 6 comes out and there's the most satirical South Park-esque jokes aimed at the president of that fictional America. And I hope they make him out to look like an utter complete twat in every mission of the game, every post, every reference to it. I think they have such an opportunity to go to town on this president. And the great thing is it'll sell so many millions of copies, there's nothing he can do about it because it'll be out in the wild. There'll be tens of millions of people playing it and going, look how funny, fake, satirical, parody, article or whatever version of Donald Trump, which is going to live in this Vice City, is going to be hilarious. There's got to be a Mar-a-Lago place because it's based on Florida and Miami, right? There's got to be missions centered around Mar-a-Lago or something, or golf courses, and he thinks he's cool, or the White House, for some reason, think they're cool getting on the back of this bandwagon. But
I did just misspeak. I said Rockstar are based in Scotland. Rockstar North are based in Scotland, in Edinburgh specifically. There's Rockstar London, Rockstar Lincoln. Rockstar's main headquarters are in New York. Who, coincidentally, hate Donald Trump.
Yeah, they are Scottish. I think it's just they've split and diverged and bought and made so much money.
Technically, an American studio nowadays, based in New York, who happens to largely hate Donald Trump. So it still works. This is where they sue. This is where they sue him for, like, well, that's our IP. We've trademarked that shit.
But pre-orders start June 25th, so next week to go, and it's real. It doesn't seem like it's going to be delayed. We're finally here. We're at the point of actually, it's coming out. They've done a couple of things in the meantime. We've got a good look at Vice City, which I'll try and bring up for our viewers on YouTube, purely because on their website, if you head over to Rockstar Games, they've actually done like a little, those websites where as you scroll down, the kind of visuals move with the scroll. They've done that for it so you can actually see what Vice City looks like. So I'll try and share that with our audience because it's probably the best, most detailed look we've got at Vice City. Although I did see some of the Reddit threads going to town a little bit on it, saying, oh, look at the details, they're out of place on it, or it doesn't quite look right.
Compared to the Vice City from the PS1?
I don't know. No, I think they're just saying like the games took so long, but they were saying like the Ferris wheel doesn't have its reflections in the water and stuff. And it's like, you do realize this is just like an animated background on a website. It's not the finished product. But yeah, either way, it just shows you what we don't know. It's got the trailers and stuff, a little bit more about the box art, but ultimately we get a look into the world of Vice City. Looks huge. Looks very different. But 25th, and again on PS5 and Xbox Series S. But if you want to play it in the best place, it's going to be the PS5 Pro, because another stark reminder, we've somehow got so far to this generation and Xbox haven't put out any iterations. Remember the cylindrical leaked Xbox Series X we covered?
Yeah, that was meant to be like a Pro or something, and
the day never came. Yeah, really weird. So not much to touch on, but it is always big news when Rockstar do something. Moving on to our... Sorry,
I think the bigger news is going to be next week when we have the pre-order, the full pre-order, because we have the date for the pre-orders opening. But next week we'll have things like probably the actual date of
price,
date of release, and price. And to be honest, I don't think there's rumors that I've heard things up to £100 game. I think Rockstar are going to come in at 60.
No.
That's my bet. I think they're going to slightly lowball it because they know how many copies they're going to sell.
But
they don't need to price gouge.
But they can, Richie. They're capitalist creators. They can. You don't develop a game for 13 years and then knock a tenner off the price. Well, I think it's going to be...
Let's be fair. A lot of kids who shouldn't be playing this game are going to play it, and they're going to have to ask their parents who are going to see £100 for a game, and they're going to go, no. I think the smarter move to make more profit is to price it lower.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I feel
I'm not. I don't care. I'm not buying it anyway. So
if we look at history, EA doesn't do that. Ubisoft don't do that. A lot of the bigger publishers don't do that. And I think if any game was ever going to do it, I would see it pushing north closer to 100 and going down. I think they would go the opposite way because they know people are going to buy it. Kids are going to beg the parents to buy it. Lapsed fans are going to buy it. Whoever these million people who are still buying GTA 5 who are just new to the game are going to buy the new one. It's going to be wild. But we'll see. We'll see more in the months to come. Let us know in the comments. Do you think they're going to go down on price or up on price? We'll find out. Speaking of wrapping things up, though, Assassin's Creed Shadows' final content update is bringing new story, which is going to directly tie into Black Flag Resynced, which comes out in just over 3 weeks now. According to the latest content blog, this is the last update that Shadows will receive, Yasuke's storyline. It's a big one. It's going to lead directly into next month's Pirate remake. It introduces a Black Tide story mission, which directly ties to the Templar menace that we've seen in the other series. However, it connects to Black Flag's protagonist Edward Kenwade's adventure somehow, but we don't know what. So it looks like, all things said and done, Richie, Assassin's Creed Shadows is it's ran its course. It doesn't feel like it's lasted anywhere near Valhalla did. I feel like Valhalla was like 5-6 years of updates and content.
But I think it didn't do as well as Valhalla, and it just seems like Ubisoft a bit more chaotic. But this, I don't know. I hope they do this well, but it feels like these are too far away from each other. How are you going to link these properly? And it's also, why do you need to? But I get it feels like one of them things they've decided to remake a Black Flag, so they need to they've decided they need to create DLC for Shadows to create hype for that game. Where it's like, yeah, I hope they do it well. I just feel like this is more of a marketing exercise rather than actual well thought out content. So far.
Well, we know they don't do we know Black Flag doesn't have any of the future content in, so it's very much a contained pirate story. And Shadows didn't do that at all either, so there was no kind of out the Animus scenario in Shadows. So maybe it's because the two games don't really have that opportunity outside of the Animus to link up. They've kind of thought, well, why don't we do something? Because the Templars and Assassins run throughout the whole story in the background anyway for all the games. Yeah. But you're right. There was something on their roadmap for DLC. They thought the Black Flag team are cracking away. There's going to be some kind of pivot point where they're both going to hit each other. We're going to round out in Shadows just as Black Flag's imminent. It makes sense to kind of link them in a little way.
The issue I have, I've just looked up the dates. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is set between 1579 and 1581. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is set between 1715 and 1722. There's over 150 years between these two.
And that's why it's probably just going to have to come down to whatever this Black Tides
order see what I mean? It's like, if there was them dates overlapping, you go, okay, I see what you've done there, but feels like they're forcing the narrative. Yeah. But anyway.
So
prove me wrong, Ubisoft. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, pretty wrong. They do say there's with the update, it's not only that, they're adding outfits, weapons, trinkets, all other stuff. But yeah, it feels like Assassin's Creed Swan Song is a big push to kind of push the series into wider aspects and preparing them for whatever Black Flag's going to be. But lots of hype for Black Flag. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be my next probably big game I play, so interesting stuff. Next story, Richie, we've got a new game launch, the Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, as I'd love to just refer to as the Millennium Tales because it's such a cooler name, is out now. It's receiving its reviews and it sits on Metacritic with a score of 79. So, as expected, with all of these kind of Square Enix 2.5D games, very well received. Games Radar give it a 9 out of 10, saying expansive but being intimidating, varied, without being overwhelmed, familiar without being tired. Elliot's adventures are wonderfully designed, consistently enjoyable, and utterly compelling. While the Adventures of Elliot Millennial Tales writing may be more mid than Middle Earth, it's a terrible quote, the rest of the game compensates by being powerfully strong. I don't know what they were trying to do in the review there. Writing maybe more mid than Middle Earth. If it was a Lord of the Rings game, I could kind of get the link, but it's an odd one to do. Eurogamer in Germany give it an Zero, they said, a gorgeous HD 2D love letter to classics like Zelda and Mana. Despite lackluster side quests and an annoyingly chatty sidekick, its time travel mechanics, snappy combat, and superb pacemaking make Elliot a must-play for retro-fine action-adventure fans. So it sounds like, Richie, which we kind of knew anyway, it would be one kind of in your wheelhouse. Is this still on your radar to play after Control?
It is. I feel like a 7.9 is slightly disappointing. I was hoping it would be in the low to mid 8s. So like IGN have reviewed it as an 80, which again it's solid. But the Adventures, but it's a game. It's a year where I've got quite a lot to play. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, isn't without blemishes, but it's still a great action adventure game that continues to prove why the HD 2D art style is among the best around. Its interesting time travel concept doesn't quite land, with not enough changing between the various time periods to keep its enemies' environments from getting a bit repetitive.
Okay.
But Elliot is a hero I wanted to cheer on, with a supporting cast of characters whose stories were more than worth seeing through to the end. Even without being a true RPG, the Magicite system gave me plenty to min-max as I messed around with different builds on the fly, and I can't wait to see all the cool combinations people find. It goes on further, but it feels like the key thing of the time travel element slightly undercooked by IGN's opinions.
Okay. But what I will say is it's one of those where you cannot say Square don't push new IP, like between Octopath and this, and what's the other one that we've had? I feel like there was like a third one that was 2.5D. We've had what, three? Project
Octopath,
Triangle
Strategy, Final Fantasy Revelations. Not Revelations.
Resonance, the new one.
Resonance, yeah, that's it, 2D HD. Yeah. They've also done some stuff which not quite 2D HD, but gets similar with Dragon Quest in the remakes.
Yeah, so they've got this engine, and it's clearly working for them because they turn the games out of a bit of a clip, and they seemingly do well.
Yeah, Adventures of Elliot, it's still on my list, but if this was 9s and 10s potentially, it might be a case of as soon as I put Control down, I go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's staying on my list for the year, but it's not I need to play this just now. I will play it at some point.
Yeah, it was one that jumped out.
It could even be a Switch 2 game for me, depending when Ocarina of Time comes.
I think
it feels like that would be a nice place for it.
Yeah, it jumped out for me, and I thought I really liked the look of it. The name kind of put me off, but I can get over that.
Yeah.
To kind of give me that Sea of Stars experience, which I enjoyed last time round. But then since then, we've now had, like I said, you alluded to it, the Final Fantasy, and now I'm kind of like, well, actually, I feel like I would rather play a Final Fantasy game because I've actually played a Final Fantasy now and I enjoyed it and got the platinum.
And that game actually draws from some games.
Yeah.
It has Clive Rossfield in it.
It has familiarity, yeah, exactly.
It has Cloud, who you haven't played, but you know of.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So plenty of stuff going on there, but interesting nonetheless. So shout out to The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales.
Yeah.
A couple of news stories as we round out. Black Ops 1 and 2, that's Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 to you and me, is apparently coming to PlayStation, but not Xbox, even though it's made by them. And this comes from Treyarch, put out a tweet earlier in the week, a little bit confused, basically saying, it's official, the original Black Ops and Black Ops 1 are being ported to PlayStation in July, courtesy of our partners at Iron Galaxy.
I don't think this is as confusing as people think. The issue here is these are not remasters or remakes.
The ports.
These are direct ports, as far as we can tell, of the PS3 version onto potentially the Xbox version, whichever way they went. But PS3 era gaming onto the modern console with no graphical overhaul. So if you want to play these games on your Xbox Series X, you already can.
True.
That's it. That's what this is. It's like,
but
they haven't remastered them, so there's no resin going on. So on PlayStation 5, these will still run at 720p. Probably still.
I mean, do we know that? Surely they're going to do some work if they're going to port it.
They're not announcing it. They're just porting it. They're saying they're porting it. They're not saying they're remastering it.
Well, apparently the Xbox version suffers from lower resolution and hacking problems on online multiplayer. I mean, surely they're going to port it. They're going to do something. They've got to do some kind of foundational work.
They've literally not announced anything. They just said it's pausing.
Well, this is why it's confusing, right? Like, why, again, in the midst of all the Xbox bad optics, all you need is one of your own studios to put out saying, oh, guess what? One of the most beloved Call of Duty games, we're bringing to PlayStation in July. Just as a quick snapshot, bite-size tweet, you can see why people go, well, hang on a minute. It runs shit on Xbox.
Because this is part of the previous era's strategy of getting the Xbox titles everywhere and launching these on PlayStation to be hoping for some revenue. And the Iron Galaxy's already been paid and it's probably almost done, so they just went go for it.
What about Switch 2 then?
It's potentially, but this deal was probably signed before the Switch 2 was announced. It might have been lower in Iron Galaxy's portfolio, but okay, we finally got to it.
True.
And we could see it. But yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to play it.
I've seen some people that are saying, what about PC? It's like, these games already exist on PC. You can just go buy them.
True.
Like, if it was a remaster, I think there's more of a story here. But based on the information that we have, I'm assuming this is a direct port. So the low resolution that you experience on Xbox, you will also experience on PS5.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an opportunity for you to buy PS3 games on PS5, which isn't the end of the world. That's nice. From the PlayStation side of things, it's a nice thing to happen.
True. Well, from the PlayStation side of things, you can't be buying PlayStation games on PC because apparently they've gave up on that. As we move into our final few stories, Sony has removed any mention of games coming to PC in its annual business environment and strategy report for PlayStation, but has added details on how it will utilise AI. They plan to use AI to unleash the creativity of studios and further enhance the PlayStation experience, the report states, with the company aiming to improve productivity through the use of AI-powered tools within its studios. This will allow developers to reinvest their time into building richer worlds and gameplay experiences. Sony also plans to leverage AI in the PlayStation Store to route transactions more efficiently and to personalise and recommend content for each individual user. Sony also aims to push visual fidelity forward and deliver high quality gameplay experiences through continued investments in AI and machine learning. Not that AI chat is new for 2026, Richie, but it was something that wasn't in the report from last year. So it seems like they are out with PC. They're done. They've tried it. They made millions and millions, but apparently for their brand,
didn't make enough.
They are protecting seemingly
they
the
didn't make enough to warrant risking PS6.
Mm-hmm. But again, to clarify, they did say their multiplayer games would still be going multi-platform. So if there's a Helldivers 3 or a Destiny 3, expect that to be all over the place.
Because they're not too bothered about the initial sales figures. They're bothered about the continued sales figures.
So what was the last one we got? Was it Ragnarok? Maybe. That must have been one of because we tend to see the cadence of came out on PS5, didn't it? And then it was maybe 2 years later we got the last one.
It'd be interesting to see if in a few years we start hearing about them being delisted.
Yeah, if they keep them there. Because Spider-Man
at the moment they're kind of just hinting that we're not bringing more, but they're going to start removing them.
PlayStation PC game sales. At the same time, it could be a case of they just need to put a pause on it while they tally up their games, and then in 10 years' time, come back around and go, actually, now we've got another catalogue of X amount of titles. Now let's start to trickle them out.
I think part of the problem is, although some of these are big titles that they've put over, they came several years later than the PlayStation release. So people who really wanted to play that game probably already played it. So that's probably like the Uncharted games didn't do great on Steam, but you've had a long time to try and play Uncharted if you really wanted to. So there's stuff in there.
Yeah, looking at this is from GameWorld Observer. They've got the kind of PlayStation title sales up until 2024, so it's probably tapered off for a lot of the part, but they show... Yeah. You dropping something. They show the likes of Horizon Zero Dawn was one of the poorest performers. That's coming in just around 4 million. Days Gone, seemingly all the way up to about 6 million. Spider-Man, God of War, the original one, upwards of about 10, 11 million. It's a poor chart to look at by what I'm seeing on here. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves, quite up there. This is on Steam, keys sold. Funnily enough, Ghost of Tsushima, one of the highest ones. But again, we lamented, I think, Uncharted because the original trilogy wasn't there. So it always felt like, well, why would you start at number 4?
Yeah, let's start at the end.
Yeah, obviously The Last of Us and stuff has been ported over. Ratchet and Clank was probably one of the weaker performers, but again, is the Steam PC audience really there for Ratchet and Clank? I'd say that they would have been better porting that to Switch, in all honesty, but 6 and 2 threes, beggars can't be choosers kind of thing. Any surprise by the AI stuff?
No, AI is the big thing. It's going to be a big change in pretty much every industry.
Mm-hmm.
Tech companies especially seem to absolutely want to cram it into everything they possibly can. I'm not I'm remain unconvinced that it actually increases productivity as much as people think.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you're better off, instead of using AI, having good people work properly normally. Rather than, it feels like cutting corners. It feels like cutting corners, and that's not always a good thing. It's like, I'm personally not fond of AI, like in the workplace, and it just seems to be this obsession with optimizing pipelines and we can use these tools and stuff. But sometimes the more tools you throw at people, the more shit they have to deal with, rather than just letting them get on with their job.
Yeah, it's
backing your people to do a good job. Just
agreed. I'll tell you what AI maybe won't help us with, though, and that is the Game Pass games getting added this month. As our last story of the week says, we have available today Junkster coming to Game Pass, Call of Duty Vanguard coming to console, cloud, and PC June 17th, Game Pass Ultimate, EA Sports FC, just as it did on PlayStation Plus, raised its head on Game Pass. That's dropping. It's out now as well. So again, World Cup's here. No surprise. Get it on. Get everyone hyped for it. Enjoy it. Get all your FUT cards. Microtransactions out the way. Abyssus is out on cloud, Xbox, and PC June 25th. Are we there yet? It's coming to Game Pass Premium June 30th, end of the month. And then the beginning of July sees Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 move over to cloud, console, and PC. So that's now part of the Game Pass Premium, which I would have thought would already have been, but apparently not. Winds of Arcana is also coming July the 6th to all Game Pass subscriptions. And in case you missed it, you've got Warlong Final Dynasty is also available now, alongside a couple of other ones, but I'm not going to read them out verbatim. Go check out the blog if you want to know those. So a couple of more additions to Game Pass. And Richie, we like to end every episode of the GamerGuild podcast by talking about this day in video game history. We're recording on Friday, June the 19th. Is there anything in particular that stands out for you on this day?
No. No, simply not this day, unfortunately.
I've got one. The Last of Us Part 2, 6 years ago in 2020. On the PlayStation 4.
Oh, I completely missed that. I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, The Last of Us Part 2. Apparently didn't send out to me, though.
6 years ago, Richie, since Naughty Dog put out a game. A new game, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to say, which time did
the first time. This was the first time. Yeah. So I remember that, because if you remember that summer, we got Ghost of Tsushima, the first one, and Last was when they've been with about 2 months of each other. And it was like, oh, shit, Sony are cooking this summer. Like, we thought they were maybe a bit too close together. I think I wrapped up on Tsushima, thought that was phenomenal. And I think you and me played the Legends mode that dropped within a few weeks afterwards. And then we went straight into The Last of Us Part 2, which was wild. And isn't it weird how we've had Ghosts of Yotei been and gone, and then we're still waiting on Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet? Crazy. But anything skipping ahead?
I'm up to the 21st and I haven't seen anything.
So a bit of a quiet time. Maybe it's because we've just traditionally had E3, and I guess nobody launched games like immediately after E3. So there may be there's a gap there where they do the announcements, but obviously games didn't really get stealth dropped back in the day, did there? It was like, no.
I suppose Driver came to the PlayStation 2 and Xbox 22 years ago.
Driver's a good shout. And I will say, 15 years ago in 2011, we got Disney Pixar Cars 2. And the only reason I say that is because the World Cup coverage, I think it's the ITV coverage, has the song from Cars on it. So every time I hear it, I just think of Cars. There's one 7 years ago, 2019, Crash Team Racing Nitro Refueled on the Switch, PS4 and Xbox One, the remaster of Crash Team Racing. That was a great shout. Yeah. In support with the Toys for Bob people.
Yeah, one last one from June the 22nd. 3 years ago, Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, because I think when my daughter was born, I played Hogwarts Legacy, and then I went straight into Final Fantasy while she was a proper baby. So
Good. That's a good view. That's a good month for 2.
it was, yeah. It was
gaming,
a great,
yeah.
again, fantastic year for gaming, even better for being a parent. But Richie, that brings us to an end of this week's episode of the Gamer Guild Podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for listening or consuming us, however you do out there in the world. Good luck to England in the next game, which is Ghana, if I recall, tomorrow.
Yep.
When this goes live.
Yeah.
So good luck. Hopefully we'll qualify already. And then when we go out drunk next week, we'll already be through, so it makes the drinking even easier. But thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Remember, play whatever makes you the happiest. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.